Co-op, genre-hopping, an amnesiac pirate, and role-playing as a medieval peasant, we look forward to the most exciting PS5 games of 2025 in today's episode of the PlayStation Access Podcast. Hello and welcome to the PlayStation Access Podcast, the official podcast of PlayStation UK. I am your host, Rob Pearson. We are joined today, as always, by Rosie Caddick.
Hello, everyone.
And David Jackson.
Hello.
What a nice
to be here.
What a nice gathering we have.
Isn't it?
I hope everyone's having a lovely Christmas.
Yeah. I hope I'm having a lovely Christmas.
Yeah, me too.
This is pre-recorded. And,
it is.
I've got high hopes for me this year.
What do you expect to be doing at the time this podcast goes live?
Eating and sitting.
Yep.
Yeah.
That would be
very much the same vibes.
Great.
Yeah.
And probably also gaming. If I get those three things, I've nailed Christmas.
Yeah.
If I can line up those three things.
Yes.
If I'm standing and eating and gaming, not as good.
If you're sitting and eating and not gaming,
Yeah, not as good.
It's like the holy trinity of things.
Yeah, that's all I ask for Christmas.
Yes. Well, if you're not gaming right now, then maybe what you can be doing is listening to this podcast.
Yeah, or listening whilst you're grinding in a video game or just playing a video game.
Yes, because we are about to talk, would you believe it, about video games.
Yeah.
What?
Especially about what we've got to look forward to in 2025, because 2024, it's as good as over now.
Yeah, it is over.
I can't believe it. And it's been quite the year.
It has been. It's been another banger, I think.
It has been. It's just banger after banger. We've done our Game of the Year podcast. You've all voted, and Astrobot won the PlayStation Access Game of the Year, as well as the Game Awards Game of the Year.
It is, yeah.
Well done to Astrobot.
Well done, Astro.
Not a surprise. Fantastic game.
And now our gaze turns to 2025. Speaking of the Game Awards, I thought this was a massively exciting show for new game reveals. There was a lot revealed that is a bit further on in the future than 2025, but I want to just briefly touch upon it here before we get into the thick of things. Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, I thought it just looked absolutely amazing.
It's astounding.
Such a cool trailer.
It's just it's just got everything. I'm so desperate for any bit of news, information, gameplay.
I love how it gets revealed, and as soon as it's revealed, you're just like, well, I want more now.
Yeah.
When's the next thing coming?
That wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Like when they showed the little teaser of combat just at the end of the trailer, I was like, give me more of this now. I want to see this.
The blade with what looked like radio waves lighting up along it. Oh, so cool.
Because who saw that coming? Honestly, like when you see the ship and the space and the conversation they're having, and it's a kind of a cyberpunk setting, future setting, you're thinking guns of some kind, laser, will it be a first-person shooter? And then that end shot was fantastic, and especially for it's melee combat. Or at least partly, there's melee combat with this really cool, iconic weapon. It's just fantastic.
I mean, anything Naughty Dog makes, really, I'm going to be excited for. But to see them exploring what for them is a completely new genre, or at least in terms of gameplay and genre, an area that they haven't been in for a long time now.
Yeah.
It's just hugely exciting. I kind of wish, because I didn't stay up to watch the Game Awards, like a coward, I went to sleep. And woke up the next morning to see all these trailers ready.
I'm old,
Robert. I had seen,
I'm a sleepy bunny.
I had seen here's the new game from Naughty Dog, and I kind of regret not being there and seeing it live, and not knowing until the trailer reveals to you that it's a Naughty Dog game, that it was a Naughty Dog game. Because I think that the pacing of that trailer was so good. The way the Pet Shop Boys music kicks in.
Yeah.
And it's like from the studio that brought you Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted, The Last of Us. I was like, oh my God, a Naughty Dog game? This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, so cool. That wasn't the only game revealed at the Game Awards.
No,
and
not
we
at all.
need to get on to the actual games that are coming in 2025. But I think also incredibly exciting was the news that there's going to be an Okami sequel.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone here played Okami, but it was one of my favourite games of the PS2 generation.
Beautiful game.
Thought absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're back making another one, is unbelievably exciting. There's, of course, a new game coming from Fumito Ueda, the brains behind Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian. So, and the team at Gen Design. Again, we know very little about this game other than that it is being made. But for now, that is all we need to know.
That's all we need. Just give us more already. Give it to me now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just all in all, a very exciting future.
Onimusha as well.
Onimusha, Way of the Sword, I believe it's called.
Like that coming back in like it just looks fantastic from what I've seen of that already, like in the modern sort of graphics, and like, I was watching it and I was just like, oh, this looks beautiful, but still like Onimusha, like, you know, the same Onimusha vibe. I'm very excited for that.
It was just a fantastic night, but I am going to start a petition to Jeff Keighley to do it earlier. Because old people like me,
think of the UK.
I need to be
and
there
everyone
for
in
this.
Europe.
I know.
Yeah.
Or I'll happily go out there. I'll go out and be in the time zone at the
adapt to the
Awards.
time zone.
That's fine. Just a few days to adapt. Then we can do the Game Awards. A few days to make sure I've adapted well. Then I'll come back with news of what I saw. I'm up for that next year, 2025. My year for the Game Awards.
Dave's year for the Game Awards, but also everyone's year for some great games.
Yes.
Which we are now going to talk about. We've each selected 3 games that, at the time of recording, have a release window slated for 2025.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're just going to have a fun discussion about them. So, as tradition dictates, I'm going to go to that end of the sofa first.
Yeah.
David Jackson, give us a game.
Yeah, I'm going to start with a game that there's no point in pretending this game's not on the list. It's GTA 6. It just has to be on this list.
I mean, the world's going to just stop, isn't it?
Yeah.
When this comes out.
And honestly, rightly so. Like, I think that the Grand Theft Auto series deserves that kind of
reverence.
It's I know nothing about GTA 6 apart from the one trailer that they've released, which is just jaw-droppingly good. All I know is about the previous GTAs, which have also been fantastically good and continue to be. I've played all of them. I haven't finished all of them.
The legend that is Dave played all the GTAs.
Right from the start, I had GTA on a demo disc where I'd play the first 15 minutes of that game for hours and hours and hours and hours. And yeah, I've played all of them. I've really enjoyed all of them. But GTA 5, I do think, rightly stands up as kind of, I mean, it's the best one. In my opinion, certainly technically.
Yeah.
And part of the brilliance is the world they create, and that is a huge technical challenge. Obviously there's the stories and the things that you're doing in this world, but like just GTA is a game where you can load it up and just have fun. You don't have to follow the story at all to just be able to go and drive around and do whatever and explore and get into scrapes and see stuff. It's a proper living, breathing world. But it's a real
thing. He said
I
the
know,
thing.
but I really believe it. It's a real world. I think it's great when you get to do that in a fantasy setting or a sci-fi setting. But this is our world, really. Maybe a slightly more vibrant, slightly more, the saturation dialed up slightly on it, slightly more outrageous. But it is our world, and there's something brilliant about that, about it being so recognizable.
Yeah.
And then it means that you really notice the incredible detail that they put in it, because I know what this world is like, and when you see it nailed and they've thought about all these little things.
Well, you can see it in the trailer, can't you? And I think it's easy to forget that it's been nearly 12 years since GTA 5
It's crazy.
first came out on PS3.
Crazy.
And the GTA games have always been quite satirical. Whether that's to your taste or not is up to you. But the world has changed a lot in those 12 years, in particular in terms of social media. And there is a lot in the GTA 6 trailer that makes me think, they're going to be... I can't wait to see what the GTA-ified version of, social media and TikTok and all of that kind of thing looks like.
Well, already
in this game.
Wasn't it that the trailer actually referenced things on social media that went around?
Yes, there's a bunch of stuff in the trailer.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that actually happened
eggs.
and people captured on social media, which I was like, that's very smart. Like, fair play to Rockstar there.
So I remember GTA 4 was the game that brought in the in-game smartphone.
Yeah.
And I remember when that first came out, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is true next gen. You've got a smartphone in the game and you can dial a taxi on it and all this kind of thing. In GTA 5, you could take selfies on it and various things. There was like
loads of apps.
Snapmatic, which was their version of Instagram. So there's almost certainly going to be some kind of social commentary going on, married to what looks like, even in the brief snippets we've seen in the trailer, an incredibly dense, detailed open world Vice City. And that's another exciting thing, right? Vice City is this formative location for the GTA series, but we've not seen it properly since the PS2 days. Over 20 years since we've had a GTA game set in Vice City. So to see what Rockstar's going to do with it now, when you consider, like, in between GTA 5 and GTA 6, we've obviously had Red Dead Redemption 2 from Rockstar, which I think pushed the bar even higher for the level of detail you'd expect from a Rockstar open world. Red Dead, obviously a different style of game, a little bit slower, more methodical pace to it. But when it comes to that level of detail, like, it's just... I am incredibly excited to see what they've got in store for us all.
There are certain kind of studios in the world who have just earned the right for their name to be enough.
Yes.
I think Naughty Dog is one of those studios.
For sure.
That's enough for me. Like, I know it's going to be fantastic. I'm excited about it. And Rockstar, it's the same. It has to be the same. They will. It's pointless to even speculate about what might be in the game, what they might do. They will do things I will never conceive of, and it will be amazing, I'm sure, and will push the boundaries of what gaming is and what can be achieved in a game. I'm so excited for it. It's silly, and I'm trying not to think about it really, because, like you said, Rob, I think when it happens, the world's just going to stop for a bit.
Yeah,
and I'm just going to let that happen and enjoy it when it comes, whenever that is.
Yeah,
for sure.
GTA 6 then.
GTA 6.
Not a bad way to start.
Yeah, no.
Let me tell you about a little game.
You might not have heard of it. You might not have heard of it.
Rosie, let's go to you then. What's your first game for us?
Well, I think just to bounce off GTA 6 for another huge hitter that's going to happen, it's Ghost of Yotei or Yotei. I'm debating, not debating, I don't know how to fully pronounce it, but this game just looks phenomenal. It's Sucker Punch's new game that's coming up, and I love Sucker Punch. I've loved them since, as we all know, I love Sly Cooper, and I really want to go to their studio and see the Sly Cooper wall. But
are you hoping that someone from Sucker Punch is listening to this? We should invite Rosie to see the Sly Cooper wall.
I will happily just see the wall, and then I'll go home.
I'm not sure that would be a good thing for them, Rosie. Like, what, would you not also want to see the
Rosie Caddick from PlayStation Access out to see the wall. And then take some photos of the wall, and then off you go.
Yeah, and then off I go. That's all I need. But obviously, if I did get to see this game as well, it would be phenomenal, because I loved Ghost of Tsushima. It absolutely, everyone in Access, it consumed all of our lives when it came out. And when Iki Island came out as well, I was incredibly excited for that, because it just looked stunning, and it just looked like more of Jin Sakai's adventure. And they just added, it wasn't just more of Jin Sakai's adventure, but it was like his own, like there was I want to say like a villain to the DLC as well, but they had their own like antagonist, and they had a different method of attack which affected how Jin's story sort of plays out and what you learn about the character. And then they did the multiplayer mode as well, which was fantastic and great fun. So Ghost of Tsushima has just been delivering, and now with Ghost of Yotei, it's like, it's yellow, and it's like so.
It's yellow now.
It's yellow, and it looks so good. And
it's
the
not
graphics,
red anymore. It's yellow.
No, yeah, exactly. I think even from the trailer, like the first thing you see is the wolf's mouth that's like, coated in blood and stuff, and the detail that's on that wolf's mouth. It's like, it looks threatening, and all you see is like the side of it, and it looks real, and you're like, oh, that's a spooky wolf. And then obviously you've got the beautiful establishment shots. There's a moment when the main character is riding alongside a bunch of other horses in this beautiful setting.
That's the shot for me that did it. Like, that's the shot that made me think, oh, okay, this is a step up here. Like, the landscape in Tsushima was amazing. Seeing this trailer for Ghost of Yotei, just the individual blades of grass in it, like the birds flying in the background. There's a density to the air and a quality of the light that lets you see that those birds are far away.
Yeah.
Which is a silly thing to say, but when you see it in motion, you're like, oh, okay, this is something I've not seen in video games before. Like this level of detail of air quality that lets you get a perspective on something and be able to tell how far away it is based on the quality of the air and the lights that's shining on it. And that shot of the horses was like, okay, how many horses are there? Like 20, 30 horses just like galloping alongside you. Amazing.
I think alongside the kind of graphical detail, the other thing, and I mentioned this before, is the just cinematography.
Yeah.
I think Ghost of Tsushima was one of the most, if not the most kind of, it is cinema.
Yeah.
And this somehow has raised that bar again.
Yeah.
Like the graphics and everything are unbelievably good, but it's the actual presentation as well, the choice of shots, you know, the way they show you the world, that is fantastic. It's I'm extremely excited about that, because I think that was one of the main things from Ghost of Tsushima for me was not just the quality of the graphics, but like the way they showed you the world. I'll never forget, you know, that opening credit sequence where you're riding through the kind of field of poppies or blossom or whatever it is, and
that when like the title pops up.
It's just next level. And obviously just the way the battles, you know, the sort of one-on-one battles will start, and where you get the name of your opponent, and being able to play it in black and white, all of these choices I think just show really sort of not just excellent like kind of art direction, but just a love of cinema, which I share, and so I'm really excited about that aspect of the game as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I just think it's going to have a fantastic story following our new protagonist. I think
Atsu's the new protagonist, I believe. Yeah.
Following like her story, seeing what's going on there. Like literally all we've seen so far is a conversation between, well, not even between, it's just a guy talking to her saying like, oh, everyone's looking for you now. Do you think you're the hunter still? And then literally just goes to like a black screen followed by a shling of the sword. And you're like, yeah, she's not having any of his nonsense. But
shling of the sword.
She killed him, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's it. He's gone now. And then there's like a following shot of her just like on her horse, where you see this body just like slowly, you know, when the knees go down and they're just slumping a little bit. I was like, yeah, she got him. But I'm sure we're gonna go through an incredibly like really good story, and at the end of the trailer as well, we also saw like a little bit of combat, like literally just tiny bits, but the combat in Ghost of Tsushima I really loved. I thought it was very immersive, like changing your different styles and planning around it and using all your different tools like smoke bombs and things like that. So I'm very excited to see this mixture of like sword gameplay, and now there's like even a snippet of her having a rifle, I think, at the end, which I don't believe was in Ghost of Tsushima. So I'm like, oh, I'm just very excited to see how this whole game is going to be, and I know it's going to take over my life, and I'm going to absolutely love it.
Yes. Well, we are, I believe, over 300 years on from the events of Ghost of Tsushima, so technology has moved on. So I think the game's set 1603, I believe, in Hokkaido. So new setting, new time, new character.
Technology. I think that's so smart as well, because it gives you still the opportunity to maybe thread some memories of the past game, but without being really beholden to it.
Atsu has taken on the mantle of the ghost.
Right.
So I'm guessing the ghost has become this mythological figure.
Yes.
Within the timeline of the ghost universe, I guess. Very cool. Very exciting.
Yeah, very excited for it. And it's very yellow.
And it's very yellow.
It's so yellow. I love how yellow it is.
Are available in the game as well.
Oh, yeah, yellow's very close to orange, you see, and Rosie's mad about
Well, the thing
orange,
is, Ghost of Tsushima was very red. Like the logo had that little red symbol in it. This one has the yellow symbol in it.
I didn't realise you experienced games like this, Rosie.
Sometimes I love
associate a colour with a game.
Well, that's why like one of the reasons I loved Elden Ring is because I was like, each area has its own like colour theme in my mind.
I
love colour.
Have you seen the film Hero?
No.
Rosie?
No.
You'd like that.
Ooh. Is it got lots of colours in it? Okay, I'll have to check it out. Maybe I mean, I'm saying this pre-recording before Christmas, but maybe that's a little Christmas treat for me.
Have you seen Sin City?
No, but I've heard of it.
Okay, well that's maybe one up from Hero then. I've heard of that one. That's just some nice use of
I have a
colour
whole
in there.
bunch of cinema to catch up on, a whole bunch of films. Maybe
Yeah.
that's just going to be my Christmas break, is just catching up on a bunch of films.
Can recommend some. That's for sure.
I'm going to talk about another big, beautiful open world game now, which is Death Stranding 2. On the beach.
On the beach.
On the
I really
beach.
love this
I
subtitle.
can't believe that subtitle.
It just
It's quite
evokes
funny.
Norman Reedus in his swimming trunks,
It makes
chilling
it,
out.
seem a lot less
With a
serious because
cocktail.
you just pictured
Yeah.
a holiday.
No, not that kind of beach.
No.
Oh.
Not that kind of beach. A weird sci-fi beach made of oil with dead things on it, probably.
Yeah,
Probably
more than likely.
probably that kind of beach.
Yeah.
This game just looks ridiculous. Like, it's got everything I want in it. It's made by Hideo Kojima. It's weird.
Yes.
And it's beautiful.
Yes.
And
I thought you were just going to end it is weird.
I mean,
Next entry.
you could just end the entry on that.
Yeah.
But like, again, there was the announcement trailer, which had an amazing rendition of BB's theme, sung by Troy Baker. And I've been desperate to just find this version of BB's theme because I want to listen to it, and I have not found it other than baked into this trailer, which is making me sad because it's amazing. And then there was as Hideo Kojima wants to do, a 9-minute long trailer at a State of Play earlier this year, I think 2024. And as usual, it was a trailer that left us with more questions than answers. But I love that. You know, that you get all these articles that are like, whoa, this has made us even more confused about Death Stranding. Good. That's what we should be. We should be thinking, what the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
Why are some of the characters in black and white in this cutscene when everything else is in colour? Norman Reedus' character now, Sam Porter-Bridges, has like a little stop motion animated puppet sidekick that he hangs on his belt. That gets angry on his behalf and hisses like a cat.
Yeah.
It doesn't need explaining.
The guitar man.
Doesn't need explaining. That's Troy Baker's character.
Yeah.
And he fights with a guitar.
Yeah.
Like a cool guitar. He's back.
He's cool.
Higgs, I believe his character's name is.
Doesn't one of the characters as well have like hands for like looks like
Fragile.
Fragile
has got like a mask, a face mask, which is 2 hands, which seems to be in tune with her emotional state.
Yeah.
So if she's shocked, the hands go over her mouth like that.
Right.
Again, like
Imagine if
I
you had
can't
those-
offer any explanations to any of this weird stuff.
Imagine if you had those in real life and you're
Yeah.
quite sad and you're trying to hide it, but your hands are just going like, and you're like, I'm holding it in hands, and they're just like wiping your eyes.
Hands and connection are like a recurring theme, a very strong theme in the original Death Stranding, of course. You've got the BTs, aka the beached things, these mysterious spectral beings that exist in a parallel world. And their appearance in the physical world is often, you only see it through the traces they leave through their handprints. They you see their hands, oily handprints. And it's almost like they're reaching out, trying to touch the physical world, and lots of it is about touch. In the Death Stranding 2 trailer, I think it's Higgs who mentions, I see you're now favouring the stick over the rope. And a big theme of the first Death Stranding was the rope instead of the stick. The rope being a thing that threads and connects things. So the whole point of Death Stranding is that you're slowly rebuilding America after this post-apocalyptic event, the Death Stranding, has happened, and Sam is that character threading the connections physically by traveling to each location, and eventually you create a new web almost. And I know Hideo Kojima wanted to make a game about making connections rather than just, as in he saw most video games, your main interaction with the world is to hit it and to bat things away. Whereas he wanted to create a game, he called it a strand game, where you pull things together. So interesting that he would have a character say something like that in a trailer for Death Stranding 2.
Yeah.
Maybe it suggests
It's
it is
now
gonna
a
be,
stick game.
It's now
There's a bit more stick in this one, yeah.
it's the stick genre,
It's
yeah.
the stick genre.
But really, all of this is a long-winded way of saying, again, much like with Naughty Dog and much like with Rockstar, if Hideo Kojima is making something, I am playing it. I don't care what it is. And that's, outside of the fact that I thought this trailer just looked... I mean, it's up there with Ghost of Yotei for me in terms of the most beautiful landscapes I think I've ever seen in a video game.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's gone up another level since the first Death Stranding. there's like an actual rock slide we see happening in the distance, like a flood happens with this water level rising really quickly around Sam Porter bridges. So I'm guessing that the challenges of traversing this landscape with landslides and floods.
Literally, when you were talking about that, I already pictured my Sam Porter bridge just like stumbling down those rocks. Yeah. Like, you know, when he loses balance, it just goes, everything goes wrong.
Yes.
That's already going to happen.
But it's going to be weird. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be mind-bending. And I can't wait for it. So, Dave, we are back to you now.
We are, yeah. And my next pick is a game actually that was announced at the Game Awards and has gone straight into one of my most anticipated, clearly, because I'm about to talk about it, and that's Split Fiction.
Oh, yes.
And as much as the trailer itself, I think that, you know, a big part of my excitement around this game has to be just based off of, again, the studio.
Yeah.
Hazelight, who made A Way Out, which I actually have to admit I haven't played, but I know it's very well liked.
Oh, you'll love it.
But I did play It Takes Two. And It Takes Two, I think, is absolutely fantastic and really elevates a co-op gameplay to like new levels. I think I remember Nathan and I streaming it on the channel when it came out and having no real expectations for it, and I think that co-op games, you can have co-op games where just the fact that you're playing together is kind of the draw, and then the gameplay within that can be quite simple. And I was absolutely blown away by It Takes Two. You know, it is a co-op game, and so everything in there is thought about in terms of what's the story we're telling, what are the two characters doing, how the mechanics are different.
Yeah.
It's like asymmetric, so mostly in that game, I think all the way through, you have different powers compared to your partner, and they'll change every time you go to a new place. You kind of get different ways of interacting with the world. It was extremely fun. I mean, unbelievably fun, actually. And as I've talked about many times before, I'm a mechanics guy. I like mechanics in games, and that had so much game feel and was always surprising and exciting and fun. And Split Fiction is building upon that. It's a game about two writers, I believe, two authors who kind of find themselves in each other's worlds, but together. One is a fantasy writer, one is a sci-fi writer. Two of my favourite genres, if not my two favourite genres. And they are basically...
Are there any other genres?
Not really.
I wasn't aware.
No. Find each other kind of having to traverse through the worlds they've created. So lots of fantasy, lots of sci-fi. And the trailer is, ridiculous fun. Loads of tropes from those two genres that I really enjoy. I'm not sure where the hot dog minigame, whether that's fantasy or sci-fi. I don't know if you guys have seen this trailer.
I have seen it.
I'm guessing that's like fantasy. I always associate one thing with fantasy. It's like they have a big feast of some kind or something like that. So that's why I'm thinking maybe there's a big fantasy feast that's happening. To explain,
there's a bit in the trailer where you appear to be playing as an actual hot dog, rolling around on a grill for reasons unknown. But it's that kind of imagination, I think, that will just make this game fantastic. And like I said, I think when you're playing a co-op game, there can be sometimes that can be enough, but Hazelight understand, I think, how to exploit co-op and understand how the real value of two people playing together and how you get the most out of that. And so I think I'm really excited to see how they build upon It Takes Two.
Well, the things about the Hazelight games they are games that can only work as co-op.
Yes.
You can play co-op in other games, and it's almost like, if you like, you can play it co-op. And it's like you just get to play the game that you can already play in single player with a friend, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But Hazelight, you have to play them co-op, otherwise they just don't work.
Yes.
And so mechanically, they're able to do things and able to gift you innovations and levels of ingenuity that you're not used to seeing in single player campaigns, just because they're not feasible single player. And so it's amazing to see what are they going to come up with now. I love it when games actually use the medium of video games and the actual act of interacting in a game to tell the story and propel the game forward.
Yeah.
And I think Hazelight are so great at doing that. Obviously, Joseph Fares is like the face of Hazelight, and you could also include Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons in that heritage, that DNA. So yeah, like again, there are lots of very distinguished creators and studios cooking up very exciting things at the moment, which is great.
There are, some I've not been able to mention in this podcast, but again, lots of some really famous names and faces back with games that I'm excited about. But yeah, this is definitely one. It's only just been announced, so it does have to be based a lot on It Takes Two, but also on the promise of the world. I think that the fact that you're going between these two, genres, fantasy and sci-fi, I can just imagine that means that they can be kind of bespoke little worlds and experiences. They don't have to kind of string together in a way that even makes sense, really, apart from with the characters who are exploring them. So we're going to see all kinds of different sci-fi. I've already seen like this sort of like Tron bikes style things.
There's like dragons you can ride that like grow up as well as the story progresses.
I love this. You can imagine like in their sort of like board meetings or their story meetings, like, should we do a sci-fi game? Or should we do a fantasy game?
Yeah.
And then just them saying, yes.
Yes.
And just leaving.
Great. It's a full-on have your cake and eat it moment as far as I'm concerned. It's like, okay, let's just do a game that has all of the things in it. And they've been able to create a concept, a gimmick, if you like, where these two fantasy and sci-fi authors are trapped inside their own work, where the constant switching between genres works within the fiction of the game.
Exactly.
And it's basically just a great vehicle to be able to throw a bunch of fun concepts at you, I think.
Yeah.
And gameplay genres too. They're always happy to go, well, what if we did like a shoot 'em up bit? And what if this was third person? What if this was first person? And what if this was like a platform bit? And it's like...
What if we chuck in a game of chess?
Exactly.
It must be very liberating to be a dev working on this game.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, well, I could just have any idea I wanted and it could get in the game.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, I guess, when you're playing one of these games. It's like, it's sort of limitless what you can actually play.
Yeah. It's really exciting anyway. So Split Fiction went straight up there for me.
I think it's coming out quite soon. March, I believe. We've not got long to wait for Split Fiction at all. I love it when games do that.
Yeah, so
Here's
do I.
this game
here it is.
coming out
Boom.
in a couple of months.
Yeah.
I can wait a couple of months.
Yeah.
I can do that, probably.
All right then, Rosie. What have you got next for us? I ask?
I was going to say, I feel like you're preparing for what I've got coming up next, but you might not have heard of it, but it's a fun game coming out in February, and it is Like a Dragon Pirate in Hawaii, because of course I am incredibly excited for Like a Dragon Pirate in Hawaii. In fact, I am so excited. I've only seen the announcement trailer and I have not seen anything else about it because I don't want anything to be spoiled for me.
Well, that's no use to us in this podcast, Rosie, because you need to know. You need to be the one who knows about it.
Well, even from the first announcement trailer,
made another game? They've only just made one.
How are they doing that? How are they doing
Is it the same studio?
Yeah, Riga Gotoku. Again,
they should sleep.
For me, when there's something like that happening, I think they're just so passionate and enthusiastic, and they're all just so like, they're just so good at making games, and like they're just so good. But yes, this is the next upcoming Like a Dragon title, which is a spin-off. So it's not going to be as big, for example, as Infinite Wealth. But I think from what I've read, it's just a bit bigger than Like a Dragon Gaiden, The Man Who Erased His Name, which was like another spin-off which was focused around Kiryu after the events of Yakuza 6. And then I think it was, if memory serves me correct, it was leading into Like a Dragon. So this is going to be 6 months after the events of Infinite Wealth. So if you haven't played Infinite Wealth yet and you are interested in this, it might be a good idea to delve into that and just to get a feel for Hawaii. But what
or visit Hawaii.
Or just visit Hawaii.
Nice way to do it.
But what the basic premise is that Majima, you both know Majima?
Yeah. The guy with the eye patch.
That's right, yeah. So Majima, this is first of all the first spin-off game, or the first game in the series that focuses purely on him. So finally, Majima's got his own game coming out, which is amazing.
That's cool.
I find that surprising, given the amount of fan love Majima has.
Yeah.
Isn't he a bad guy?
He's like an anti-hero, I guess. Like
one of those.
Yeah, one of those.
A rogue, lovable rogue.
A lovable rogue. You know, the competition between him and Kiryu was absolutely phenomenal. And he's just a fantastic character in general. But he has washed up on the shores of Hawaii, and when he's like, you know, getting his senses, so someone finds him and gives him some water, and he's just like, you know, trying to survive. And then he completely forgets everything about him. He is suffering from amnesia at the moment. So he is literally now on this island in Hawaii, doesn't know who he is or anything like that. But on his adventures, I believe that on his adventures to try and find out who he is and what's going on, he becomes a pirate. And so now
I'm wearing an eye patch. I must be a pirate.
That's all I can think.
I can see some water. I'm wearing an eye patch.
Pirate. I must have been shipwrecked.
Yeah.
It's probably been announced how, I believe, like, maybe he, you know, in a pirate way, he takes on the captain of the ship and then fights them because Majima is an incredibly skilled fighter. And then they're just like, you're a pirate, you're the captain of the ship, hooray! So Majima is now living this pirate life. So not only is he now trying to remember who he is and what on earth happened or what happened to lead him up to this point, he is also going on an epic pirate adventure looking for an epic treasure, and it just looks fantastic from what I've seen so far. Like I said, it's only been a little bit because I'm just so excited. I want to save as much as possible for my fresh eyes, but
my beautiful fresh eyes.
But I have seen a bit of gameplay, and it looks like Majima's got like two fighting styles. His classic one, which I believe is called the Mad Dog, you know, where he just has his knife and he's just like speedily dancing around all over the place, and now he's also got another fighting style which is like a pirate themed one, and it's going, rather than going for the turn-based like a Dragon with Ichiban goes for, it goes back into the sort of third person action, you know, it's not turn-based, it's just you're going in there going like slicing and punching away.
Action game.
Yeah.
I must admit, as someone who hasn't played a Yakuza game as we've discussed, or any of the Like a Dragon series, that is an extremely fun idea for a game. I love the idea of a fan favorite character washed up on a beach. You don't know what's happened to him, and so you're trying to uncover that, whilst also he's trying to uncover that, but thinks he's a pirate, and you're going on a pirate adventure in Hawaii. That's so silly and brilliant that I'm sad, actually. I like that I don't know if I can play it because I haven't played any of the others. Can I play it? But that sounds great.
It sounds amazing. That's the thing. Without playing it, I can't tell you whether you can get away with just playing it, because like I said, this is also Majima's first solo adventure. So it might be that it's designed in a way that, because I know some people who are excited for this, but that's just because they love pirates and they just want to play it.
It's a pirate game.
Yeah, literally. They're like, it's a pirate game and it looks fantastic. I want to play this pirate adventure. So I know some people who are interested in it just because of that element. So they're probably going to try it, not knowing anything about Majima, but they'll probably fall in love with him because everyone does, because Majima's great. But it's just such a good idea. It's like Majima's character works so well as a pirate, and I think literally the title just being Like a Dragon, pirate in Hawaii. It's like if anyone says, "What's this game about?" It's like,
it's pirate in Hawaii.
You're a pirate in Hawaii.
Why are you a pirate now? You just are.
You just,
there we go.
There he is.
I'm also impressed that for some reason they found a collection of syllables that I just want to sing. It's just like a dragon pirate in Hawaii. I like a dragon pirate in Hawaii. It just like really works. I don't know why. It's like a nice to say title. Really nice to say.
It is really nice to say. And one more thing I just would want to say, because I think it was my boyfriend who read this up and told me about it, but apparently you've got this. So when you're like rescued, you're rescued by like a young boy who finds you and gives you water, but he's also got a tiger companion.
Of course.
A tiger cub.
Most people in Hawaii do.
And this tiger is apparently voiced by the same voice actor as Ichiban.
Wow.
So literally I'm like, it's not as if, I'm just like...
Why does the tiger speak?
That's the thing. I don't know if it speaks. It might just be a couple of like growls and like and stuff like that. But it's voiced by the same voice actor as Ichiban apparently, which is just fantastic. The fact that that's a thing, you know, rather than it just being like, here's some tiger sound. It's like no. It's voiced.
I'm pleased for fans of the series. That sounds nice.
Yes, like I said,
I'm more confused now than I was a minute ago, but. That's good.
I know. I'm
going to go and watch this announcement trailer.
Yeah,
next.
just watch the announcement trailer.
I'm excited to.
Yeah, and then just see if you just watch it, and then just be like, you know what, without knowing anything about Majima, because then it might even be designed in a way that because Majima has amnesia. Right. You will also be learning who Majima is.
Yeah, I'll be finding out as I go.
Exactly.
I won't be missing anything.
Yeah, so cool. It might be designed like that. I'm not sure. But give it a shot.
Maybe this is it.
Maybe this could be your introduction. And then you're like, where are the pirates in the other games? Yeah. Serious lack of pirates now. But yeah, very excited for that.
I do say this every time though. And then someone commented on the last podcast, to say, Dave, start with Judgment. By the way.
Yeah, you would love Judgment.
Okay.
Yeah, Judgment is yeah. So Judgment is like in the same universe, but it's a different series.
Right.
But that I could I'll tell you after the podcast.
We'll talk after the podcast.
But yeah, this isn't cool. About this. That's my already
Judgment. Out. Speaking of Judgment, Rob, what's
next?
What's your next game?
Nice segue.
My next game is another open world game. It's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Oh, yes!
Which is not that far away. February the 4th. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2
We've just discussed 3 games that are out within the next 3 months.
Yeah.
God.
I mean, 2025 is going to start
big.
Quickly. Yeah. With a bang. I was a big fan of the first Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's, for anyone who doesn't know, it's like it aims to be like a hyper-realistic, open-world, historical role-playing game. So it's not fantasy. It's set in medieval Europe. You play... initially in the first game as a guy, well, you play as Henry in the second game as well. But in the first game, he starts off as like...
He's a peasant.
He's a peasant. And his parents are murdered. He's got nothing. He's got no skills. He's not a fighter. He's not a thief. It's not like a game where you're like picking your class. I want to be a rogue. No. I want to be a mage.
He's just a man.
You're just a bloke. And you've got to just work your way up. Do the graft.
Yeah.
Everything is hard. Like just getting from one town to the next, as it should be back in those days. Like
it was hard.
You know, you can go. I remember trying to run to a town, trying to take a shortcut because it was getting dark, thinking, this is the path down there, I'll jump off this little hill. I broke my ankle and was like hobbling and bleeding out, and I think I just died pathetically on the road. Either of starvation or my injury.
As soon as you start thinking, I'll take a shortcut in a game that's got a very straightforward path.
Yes. Yeah. And there are degrees of difficulty, so you can make it more difficult for yourself if you want to play like an incredibly authentic experience that's as true to real life, I guess, as you can make it. But Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 continues the story of Henry of Skalitz. He's a little bit higher up in the world now. I think he's like a friend of the rightful king, but really the basic premise is he's still out for vengeance. He still wants to avenge the death of the murder of his parents, and so it's basically just more of the very good same. I love sort of like how it just doesn't give you anything. Everything has to be earned in this game, even the combat. It's not just a game where you can get your sword out and press a button to go swinging with it. Like, you've got to be looking at your opponent. You've got to parry where they're going. I don't know if it's the same for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but in the first game there was a system whereby you had to move your sword depending on where your opponent was moving their sword to successfully block them. So you have to really be paying attention to what your opponent is doing, as you would in a real sword fight, I imagine, and then time your strikes to actually break through your opponent's defenses. And, I remember even just lock picking a chest was like an incredibly dangerous game. Because it'd be like, well, here there's an item hidden in this chest that could make this quest easier. I've got 3 lock picks. If you break them, then you're done. But I sometimes I'm in the mood for this kind of game where I just want to immerse myself in this kind of world. And the fact that it is set in like a real historical period, in a real place, based on real world events, and in many cases actual historical characters as well. Henry of Skalitz, I believe, is a fictional character, but the world in which he exists is very much based on real history. It's just great. So I love being immersed in it. I love the muddiness of it. I love the sort of somber, melancholy beauty of it. You haven't got dragons flying around the place and impossible magic mountains. It's Europe, 15th, 16th century Europe and as bleak and as hard as that suggests.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember this, Rob, but one of the things we wanted to do for the first game, one of the kind of levels of difficulty or sort of custom difficulties you can have is you can make it so that you don't have an in-game map.
Yeah.
And the game comes with a physical map.
It does.
And we wanted to do just a stream or a let's play or something where we played on that difficulty and I had the physical map and you played the game and you just have to navigate by landmarks and things.
Yes.
I really hope that's in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 because I think that's such a cool idea.
It is a very cool idea.
Just have this physical map that you if you want to find your way. Because it's something we just get it's a kind of a silly thing in games when you think about it now. It's just that you always have access to a map. And
we live in the GPS age, of course. So
that's true.
Even if you're walking somewhere in real life, you can just bring up Google Maps and find
put your waypoint, and
then
it just takes you there.
Yeah, but it doesn't make any sense in a medieval European setting.
No.
A physical map does, and I love that is an option where it's like, do you want the real experience of what it would have been like to be Henry trying to find this town somewhere? It's like he might have, if he was lucky, he might have had a map he could follow.
Yeah.
Otherwise, maybe paths with road signs and things. Don't take a shortcut.
Or he draws it himself as he adventures on, which was also
that could be a thing. That could be a thing. But yeah, I love that, and I really hope that's in. Also, that mini game that ruined me.
The dice one.
The dice.
The Christmas Maze. But such a Moorish, nice, good game.
Oh, it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that.
I hope that's in there too. That is exciting.
Nice.
That is an exciting pick, definitely.
Yeah, I just want to be walking along a muddy track. I want to go into a tavern. I want to talk to some knights.
Yeah.
I want to do some sword fights.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I'm ready. I'm ready to just dive into that.
Yeah.
And we've got barely a month to wait now until it's here, which is very cool. So we've each got one more game to talk about.
Yes.
Dave, what is your final pick for 2025?
My final pick, it's in a way, it's almost a little bit selfish, I think. And the game is Atomfall. And the reason I think it's a bit selfish is that one of the reasons I'm really excited about it is because it's set in the UK. And Atomfall is being made by Rebellion. I'm a big fan of the Sniper Elite series. They're such fun games. They've just become more and more fun and more honed every time. And it's kind of... I think that there's... I think that it's no... problem to say that they've taken some influence from the Fallout series. It's basically a kind of open world action RPG where you it's set in the UK, where you are there's been a nuclear disaster. I think a nuclear power station has exploded, set in Cumberland in the UK, and you are navigating that world, that post. I don't even know if it's an apocalypse, but it certainly is in the UK.
Post-disaster.
And I suppose the selfishness of it is that I have loved the Fallout games, but being set in America, I have a kind of... I only have my understanding of that world only goes so far. Obviously, I'm not American. I don't live in America, so I've got a lot of sort of points of recognition from movies and pop culture and television, all that kind of stuff. But I can never know America as well as I know the UK. And seeing this game set here, I think that there's so much scope for fun, and we're quite a self-deprecating nation, I think. I think that it's being made by a British developer. I think that there will be lots of funny... I think there'll be lots of humour just about what it is like living here, the good and the bad. And I think it will be really interesting. I'm pretty sure in the trailer you see there's a sort of troop, a tribe of people who are dressed like Morris dancers or something. Ooh. It's that kind of the weird parts of the British culture, left unchecked. What might happen? What kinds of people come to the fore? So suddenly Morris men are extremely dangerous lords of the land.
Oh God, not the Morris man.
Yeah, the kind of relics of the old times, big red phone booths and things. Just the countryside, just the way the countryside looks, the kind of town. I think
post offices and pubs.
Exactly. It made me think of everyone's gone to the Rapture a little bit, in terms of part of the brilliance of that game. I think for us Brits is the reflection of our lives, or some part of our lives. You know, seeing that world is so recognizable to us that's very exciting and endearing and interesting. And I think that is a part of my excitement for Atomfall. Apart from that, it just looks really fun. It's got, you know, giant robots kind of roaming the world that you have to battle, all these different weird tribes. It's a really, I think it's a really good looking game, like really interesting design choices. I'm just really excited to explore Cumberland, a place that I actually only know for its sausages. Thank you, Cumberland, for your sausages.
I've literally been thinking, why do I know the name Cumberland?
Cumberland.
Yeah. Cumberland.
I don't even know where in the UK it is. I think north.
And now I know
where the sausages come from. That's all you need to know, yeah.
But yeah, I think... and again, I think because I've had so much fun with the Sniper Elite games, I'm hoping that DNA is in there, and again, that self-deprecating humour about our.
It's a very easy sell, isn't it, when you say Fallout in the UK?
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically what Atomfall. That's the elevator pitch.
That's the elevator pitch, yeah, and that's a very quick elevator as well. But it's done it like it's I wasn't going far, but yeah, I think that's. Really, really exciting, and yeah, I just keep thinking about that iconic red phone box. It's just, there's something about that image that really just
we don't even use them really heart. In the UK anymore. They've usually been turned into cute little libraries.
I was going to say,
they're like little libraries nowadays.
Book swaps.
There's a few in the villages around where I live, and they all think they've had the idea. What if we turn it into a library?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I do like it. It's nice.
So do I.
You know, quite a few of them will be turned into like little mini flower exhibits.
Yeah. Got one of those in Bath. It's always nice.
Yeah.
Nice photo op.
Yeah. Very rarely is one actually still a phone box.
Yeah. I mean, because phone boxes are quite useless in the modern world, really. Everyone's a phone box.
But when you find one that's still trying to run as one, you're like, it's authentic.
Yeah.
We found one.
I must use it. I don't have any coins.
Oh,
well. It's a shame that, isn't it? I used to love the feel of a phone box phone.
Yeah.
Quite heavy. Yeah. And just the sound of it, the sound of the ringtone.
Well, that's the other thing is as well, the ringtone when you're, nothing weirder than in a film or something, because I've never seen it in real life, where a phone box starts ringing. Everyone's just like, that shouldn't be, that I ring out of it. Someone shouldn't be ringing into it.
Yeah.
Is it for me?
And then you answer it and it's like, I can see you. And you're like, oh no.
Do exactly as I say.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a whole film, Rosie, called Phone Booth.
Is there?
There is, yeah.
Is it all about that premise? Another one for me to add to my list.
A man is walking around one day and the phone in a phone booth starts ringing, and that's all.
Just an innocent man?
Just an innocent man.
Oh my gosh.
Other things they can be used for are superheroes changing into their superhero outfits.
Great point.
They go into phone boxes to do that quite a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Is one of them ever used as a lift?
I've used one as like a get out of the rain before. In a pinch.
Oh, like a little shelter.
Like I just stand in it for a minute. Yeah. That's a good one.
Pretended to make a call and someone else is also pretending.
Standing in there watching everyone else being wet. Well, I got in. I had a good idea to get in here.
Yeah, phone booths.
I love how this whole conversation just turned into phone booths now.
Yeah, Atomfall. I mean, just genius for putting phone booths in the game. That's it. It's made it on my list.
Hours of entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. Right. How about you, Rosie?
Rosie, let's come to you for your final pick, please, of 2025.
My final pick is one that I've been excited about ever since the first trailer was announced, and it is called Mouse PI for Hire.
Oh my God, this looks amazing.
It looks
amazing.
Yeah, it looks so good. It seems to have the rubber hose sort of animation style that you might recognise from, let's just say, for example, Cuphead, or this one I think is taking...
Or old animation.
Yeah. Like, I think this one's taking it more from, like, the older animations, such as Steamboat Willie, which is a classic. So already that style, I love it, and I love it when a studio tries to do something interesting with this style. And this just seems to be like a noir take from what I've seen, it kind of looks like a noir Doom in a way. Like you've got your weapons, which already the animation in it when you see the character, because it's all first person, but you can see the character reloading the weapon, and the animation just for this hand and a weapon is stunning as he's just reloading all these different types of guns. You're running around these 3D environments and you just seem to be shooting a bunch of other cartoon characters, and just because it's like a rubber hose animation, you'd think, oh, it's like a friendly old cartoon. No, these are like, when you get headshots, they're like splats, but it still seems to have the humor of some old animations. Like there's an attack where you give a bouquet of flowers to someone and then they're cuddling it, and I think it just explodes and they just turn into ashes. So it still seems to have like just a really sort of fun sense of humor. I love the noir setting. I think I'm learning more and more that I do really like a noir setting thing. Like I loved LA Noire. And like, so seeing this, I was just like, oh yes, I want to be back in here. And in like Time Splitters 2, my favorite stays was Chicago, which I think was also very like noir-esque and stuff. So that looked great. It just looks like a lot of fun. And it looks as well that, when you're playing Doom and you get those runs when you're jumping, there's an enemy and you just jump, boom, and then there's another one, you just have that rhythm going, and it just seems like a beautiful dance of you slaughtering a bunch of demons. This seems to have a very similar thing where you can like traverse through these environments, and then you can just get a rhythm and a dance going of just getting all of these cartoon characters. So it just looks fantastic.
Go on.
No, I was just going to say, if you've not seen this yet, you've got to see the trailer. You've got to watch this in motion, because it's one of those things where I'd heard about this before I saw the trailer. Then I saw the trailer. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like in motion, this just looks so good. Looks amazing.
I agree.
Like
it has got to be seen.
That animation style just works. It's like one of those moments where you're like, wow, why didn't I come up with this idea?
Yeah.
Whoever's come up with that idea, well done you.
Yeah.
Because it really does work. And it reminds me a lot of Cuphead in its animation style, but who'd have thought, like a first-person shooter?
That's it.
With this kind of animation style.
Well, that's what I was saying. When someone takes the animation and they think of a new way to use it, I'm like, I mean, with Cuphead, we had the 2D, like difficult, beautiful fights going on, and now we've got these 3D Doom-esque first-person shooter kind of style.
I'm so in. As soon as I saw the trailer for this, I was like, oh, I'm playing this game.
Yeah.
This looks great. I hope it's not as hard as Cuphead. Probably.
We'll find out.
But I will be playing it nonetheless.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
And Rob, what's your final suggestion or your pick?
Final pick is also a very distinctive, artful game, and that is Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
Yes.
Which I've had my eye on ever since it was announced earlier in 2024. It's my cup of tea in many ways, like a turn-based JRPG style game in terms of the combat, but everything else about it looks incredibly original and fresh and unique. And I think Sandfall Interactive, who are making this, the creative director Guillaume Broche, I believe his name is, has been influenced by classic JRPG, so I think he's name-checked both Final Fantasy X and the Persona series as being big influences on him. Certainly when you see the turn-based battle system, it looks very much like Final Fantasy X, where you have like icons depicting whose turn it is next, like in the corner, and then you get to plan your attacks from there. But visually, it looks like a Belle Epoque influenced art style, so like a period of sort of like late 19th, early 20th century France, that kind of vibe, and it's unlike anything I've seen before, and the plot's a bit mysterious and weird. You've got this mysterious sorceress, this paintress, who every year paints a number, and everyone of that age is then killed. And that's the premise of the game. She's painted the number 33. So the game is a bunch of 33-year-olds is like, well, let's stop this happening then.
It's such a terrifying concept. Like, imagine when you're like, oh my God, like when you can calculate it knowing this is a thing, and then you're like, oh my God, I've only got like 5 years left to live because of this curse.
It's obviously a thing that's happened in the past as well in this game. And so from what I've seen of it, you see the ruins of previous failed expeditions from people who've tried to stop the Painters before and failed. And you come across, graves or ruins or whatever they are. And it reminded me quite a lot of Final Fantasy X's plot in that, essentially that is about trying to stop this cyclical world-ending disaster that happens every 10 or 15 years or so, and trying to break that cycle of destruction. So it's just a very interesting idea. Also, the cast is very exciting. So you've got Charlie Cox in it, of Daredevil fame, Andy Serkis of Gollum fame.
It's just Gollum fame.
And many other fames. Ben Starr of the Christmas Maze fame.
No other fame, just the Christmas Maze.
Jennifer English, who's another renowned and very popular voice performer, is also in the game. So it's a very exciting cast. And I think the combat just looks very cool. So it's turn-based, but there's also like an element of dodging and parrying that you can do. So I was lucky enough to attend like a preview event where Guillaume Broche was playing the game in front of me, and he basically perfectly dodged and parried every single enemy attack for the duration of this 20-minute demo. And I was like, what if you're not as good at the game as the person who's made it? And he's like, oh, that's fine. You can be hit and take damage like in a traditional turn-based JRPG. But we're seeing this quite a lot with games like Sea of Stars, which came out earlier this year, or maybe even last year now. I think it was last year, in fact. Again, traditional JRPG elements, but with extra sort of bits woven in where you can, if you press the button at exactly the right time, you can do a perfect parry or a perfect dodge. So there's elements of real-time action in there as well. But, I love a good traditional turn-based JRPG, and the fact that this game is giving that to you with all of these extra elements. It looks like a AAA game built around a retro JRPG turn-based engine, which I think is a really interesting cocktail. And I don't think any other game looks like this. No. And we have it on record from Ben Starr that the game is very good. According to a man who is in it. Yeah.
And of course, of Christmas Maze fame, of course.
Christmas Maze fame, yes. But yeah, I just think it looks really cool.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
I do think that the narrative is just super interesting as well. Like the Paintress thing is so I just want to know. I want to know what's happening. How can she be stopped? How do they stop it? Has this happened before?
Who hurt her?
Yeah.
Who hurt her
Why
in the
does
past?
It happen?
That she has to every year just, I think everyone who's 30 should die now. Why?
Yeah, I'm fascinated by it. It's really, really good.
Really cool concept.
2025. I mean, that's just the 9 games that we've chosen, but there are a whole bunch more.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be lots more that aren't even announced yet. It's going to be a hell of a year. And those first 3 months are silly.
They are.
It's going to be very busy.
It is. Let us know. If you're watching this on YouTube, maybe leave us a comment. If you're just listening on another platform, maybe give us a message on social media. Let us know what game you are most looking forward to in 2025. And join us in another 2 weeks' time for the next episode of the PlayStation Access podcast. Have a happy new year, everyone. We'll see you next time.